Welcome, guys. I am live, and I wanted to talk about the use again. It's like repeated clockwork. The use of mainstream media and their the persistent push to use visual because you have to see what you're reading, and they use certain buzzwords on the title of an article or the title of a news briefing. It'll say breaking news. And I've told you guys repeatedly that our third dimensional realm operates off of fear. And if they can induce a considerable amount of fear within your psyche, it causes you to move in a different way. Yeah, studies show this that if you're moving off of fear, logic is decreased, and your brain just a natural response. It's a parasympathetic response to be exact. It goes into a mode called flight or fight. And when you go into that mode, you're not making decisions based upon logic. There's no sound rationale. And this measles thing that they've been talking about for months now is yet another health agenda, a health scare. I'm not saying that measles is not real. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that if they're calling it measles, you have to understand that just because you have symptoms of what they call measles doesn't necessarily mean you have measles. And the cause of what they're saying measles is caused by is not the true cause. The agenda is to get people to get the vaccine. I've been telling you guys that from day one. Let me see if I can share my screen here. I want to share this article with you guys for a second. All right. Yeah, you guys can see my screen. Yep. And all the while, people who, people believe in this, and it's almost like it almost has a cultish effect, you know. And anyone who goes against what the mainstream media is pushing, then you become a person that's literally attacked. You are attacked. Let me try this again. I don't know. I did something wrong here. And I know that my channel is a reflection of me. I'm not a Colorado Buffalo channel. I'm not a Coach Prime channel. Initially, I started talking about those things. But there are other things that are more important to me than sports. Yes, I understand sports is a huge component of life, but there are other things that are more important than sports. And oftentimes, sports is used as a distracting mechanism to take us away from those more important things. We usually find ourselves indulging in trivia and entertainment, not knowing what the larger ramifications are of things that are going on around us that we are unaware of. And to me, that's more alarming than anything to me, to see those things happen in the way that they are. And I've always told you guys that anything that comes from the government cannot be trusted. It cannot be trusted. Not because I said so, because history said so. Just look at data. Just look at the things that have happened in the past. When has the government ever been deemed to be an institution that should be trusted? It can't. It can't. They're now comparing measles to COVID. Buzzwords, because trauma. We're all traumatized by what happened in COVID. And so you have to relate, you have to take something and connect it to something that has a past traumatic impact on you. And so therefore, when you do that, you tend to have people who want to engage in the deception. All right, go get a blanket. Go put on some pants. Go your upstairs and put on a shirt and some sweats and the pants. I know. Just go put on some pants and a shirt. I don't know where they're at. Look in that closet up there across from Paisley's room. There's some blankets in there. You got to open that door. Yeah. So that's what this is. I'm going to read this article here. I wanted to actually share it, but it seems like when I try to share that I don't know if it's on my end or yeah, I think it's probably on my end. It starts to kind of glitch up a bit. All right, so this article here, it says another another state confirms measles case with infected child its first year. Virginia child diagnosed with measles traveled internationally. So here we go again. The When you read an article like this, the first thing that clears out is that, of course, they use the word measles, child. Those are buzzwords. Okay, then it tells you the child traveled internationally. So what does that tell you? Is that don't go anywhere. It has the same theme of COVID, right? Stay in one place. Going around the world and traveling could be something that's catastrophic, right? So don't go anywhere. Stay put. All right. It says down here, it says measles is more contagious than COVID, medical experts warns. Well, number one, COVID was nothing but the common cold and influenza. Like it was a flu. That's all what that's all it was. It's just that I know you guys are gonna say you're not a medical expert, you don't know what you're talking about. COVID is real. I understand you guys are brainwashed and you guys are deeply immersed in this cult. I get it. It's like a religion. It's like telling somebody that their religion is fake. They get they take offense to it and they get defensive. They don't like it. Because when your brain want to be unbrained, now you have to live with the fact that you were lied to, and in everything that you believed in, you have to actually erase everything and start from square one. And the responsibility to do that is too immense. It's too heavy for people to actually grasp. So what they do is they defend what they don't know. They just defend what they believe. Believe and knowing are two different things. It says measles is more contagious than COVID. Well, what if I told you that COVID was nothing but the common cold? And media was used. People who were being killed were people who were killed were being killed in the hospitals. I never heard of anyone who would just walk in the streets or at home who died of COVID, allegedly. It's when you went to the hospital and medical malpractice was done. That's when people would die, whether they're giving you bad treatment, isolation, putting you on ventilators, needed. Because studies, not even studies, common sense, if a person can breathe on their own, you don't put them on a ventilator. Remember in New York where they were putting all these old elderly people on ventilators? They were killing them. I know it's hard for you guys to grasp your mind around that because you're like, wow, well, that's evil. Well, welcome to the world. The world is evil. I don't think our minds allows us to go there because it's too scary to actually it's scary to consider it, let alone believe it. Yeah, is it possible that your government is evil? Yes, it's possible. What if I told you that it actually is evil? Pneumothorax is when the lungs collapse, too much pressure in the lungs. They were killing people. Drugs like ivermectin and giving out all these sort of drugs to people. Like it's a pharmaceutical clown show. It's about pushing meds. It's about pushing drugs. It's not the drug cartel. It's the pharmaceutical industry. You always have two things that function in the dual aspect. You have the illegal aspect of it. You have the legal aspect of it. We're so brainwashed that we think that they're two separate things. Yes, we understand that illegal drugs are illegal drugs, but what if I told you that the drugs that are deemed to be legal are also illegal as well? You say, how come? Well, because these drugs that you're taking are not good for you anyway. They're toxic. Just because they mask a symptom, just because they sort of proverbial band-aid over your wound, never dealing with the causation, doesn't necessarily give it the holy grail of being something that's legal and that's good for you. Not everything that's illegal is good for you. All right. Alcohol is legal. Is it good for you? No. Junk food is legal. It's not illegal to go eat junk food. You can eat as much junk food as you want. Is it illegal to eat junk food? Is it good for you? No. So just because something is deemed to have the legal label doesn't necessarily mean that it's good morally, it's good for you or it's moral. So don't say that the war on drugs is different from the pharmaceutical companies. We are at war with the pharmaceutical companies and the war on other drugs that are deemed to be illegal. Cocaine, crack, fentanyl, heroin, opiates, psychotropic meds. All of those things are the same thing. It's just they're given a different label. One's made in a laboratory, given the rights and the liberties to actually concoct these medicines, and they're deemed to be legal, and they're pushed through the pharmaceutical industries, and doctors are actually pushing these drugs on people. Okay, those are the ones that are deemed legal. But if somebody else is trying to make a profit with their own drug, it's deemed to be illegal because one's industrial complex. So this is just a scare. So when they tell you that the measles is more contagious than COVID, what that does to the brain, because COVID elicits traumatic emotions because we all went through it. Whether you believe in it or not, you still went through it because the world was acting strange. Everybody walking around with masks on. It's like a twilight zone. It showed me how easily the masses can be manipulated by the power of mainstream. And I truly believe in my heart of hearts that was an experiment to see how easily human beings could be manipulated, and it worked because the majority of people believed in it. I didn't believe it. I never did. I didn't care because I was still healthy. I still ate right. I still worked out. I still did what I had to do. The only thing that was frustrating to me was just seeing how everybody around me was acting incredibly afraid of everything. People constantly washing their hands, people coming home, taking off their clothes and throwing their clothes in the house damn near naked because they feel like the COVID is attached to their clothing. You see how stupid we become when fear becomes the overarching emotion that drives us. Is it okay to have fear? Of course it is. It's good to have fear, a healthy dose of it. But when you're every day induced to this traumatic fear thing that the news keeps pumping out, somebody died here, this another person died, thousands are dying. I mean, it was the Black Plague, but it wasn't. The only people that were killing people were the hospitals. I keep saying that. Hospitals, well, you guys know this if you've done your research. You know hospitals were incentivized. They incentivize death. If you can have the more people that you can label who had COVID with this false PCR or whatever they call it. What do they call that test? PCR test, I believe that's what they call it. That false PCR test. If you can as many people as you can with COVID, then you get a certain amount of money. If you can get people vaccinated with a certain amount of vaccines, uh, you get incentivized by that as well. You were pushed. In other words, hospitals and doctors were being paid more money to kill and to diagnose. That's not medicinal, folks. That's what I call an agenda. But you guys can't see that because you guys are wholeheartedly immersed into this COVID thing. So here it's telling you that measles experts weren't warned. They always use the term medical experts. Medical experts. That you know what that means? That's just a way for you to say for them to tell you, don't think too deep about this. The experts have it in control. Let them do the thinking for you. Like I've said this a million times, we are in an information age, and everyone can gain information. Now, you may not be an expert because that's just a buzzword. It doesn't mean that you know it all either. It just means you're an expert within the curriculum that you were provided, right? So if you were taught wrong, you're an expert in wrong teaching or in wrong practice. So if I went all my life learning math the wrong way, all right, and those that are in charge, those who hold the I don't know, the so-called people who have come up with the curriculum, right? They deem me to be an expert. Taught wrong in mathematics, and I go out teaching my mathematics, and people call me an expert when I come to their universities to teach. Well, that would also mean that I'm teaching something wrong. The label doesn't make my teaching correct. Being correct makes you correct. Being truthful makes you correct. The expert label doesn't make you correct. So just because it says medical experts warn that measles is more contagious than COVID, that doesn't make that true. It's buzzwords. How many times have we allowed medical experts, yet we keep fighting ourselves inside the cycle of deception? If you don't learn from your past, you're damn near gonna repeat the same mistakes. You have to understand the things that you've done wrong in the past and don't repeat them. That's what growing entails. It doesn't mean you're going to scurry through life without making mistakes or misjudging things. That's part of growth. But what you cannot do is repeat the same damn thing. They're using the same modus of operandi here. Effective means of getting people to get vaccinated. So now we have to lump other diseases with COVID to see, can we get the same result? So it says here, the Virginia Department of Health, VDH, Virginia Department of Health, recently reported the state's first measles case of the year, identifying the patient as a child under 4 years old who recently traveled internationally. So what it's trying to get you to believe is that it's because, but if you study medicine and you study the way the body works, especially in children of that age, 4 years old, the skin is the biggest organ of the body. So whenever there's something wrong, or with a person, whether it's psychological, whether it's stress, whether it's nutritional deficiencies, whether it's toxins or poisons, whatever it is, usually the skin is the first indicator that shows symptoms that something's wrong in terms necessarily. Why do you think a lot of kids who go to daycare, when they're detached from their mothers or detached from their parents, why do you think they suffer skin rashes? They start to break out in hives sometimes. It's not because they have measles or because they have chicken pox. It's because they are stressed. The kids, I forgot the term that's used at the medical jargon, but because the blood-brain barrier in children, something about it being under the, so the only way to show that there's something wrong internally is to show it on their skin, which is why when a child gets vaccinated, what do doctors tell you? They say, don't they tell you, don't worry. Number one, your child may run a high fever. That's normal. And you may see a rash. They may break out in a rash around the spot that they were injected in. The skin is usually the first warning sign that there's something wrong. So there's a amount of reason how I have measles, but measles is just a term. I want you guys to focus on the symptoms. Don't focus on the label. See what they've done, they've taken symptoms and categorized them and given them different names. The reason why they give them different names is because if I can give it a different name, I can package a drug or package a product. Because remember, it's all about industry. It's about pushing product. If I can symptoms and put them in a box, then I can create medicine or pharmaceuticals to match that symptom, therefore making profit. But if you understand it, the way the human body works, everybody who's a human, everyone who's a human operates the same way, generally speaking. There are a couple of different symptoms that we all emit based upon certain causes. But it's already trying to excrete the toxin. It has nothing to do with measles or you having COVID. These are just names that are given to things that happen naturally in the body. And then, of course, if you buy in to the lie and you're living a stressful life, because stress is a silent killer, do research on that. I don't even want you to believe me. Get your computer, get your cell phone, whatever you get, your smartphone, your smart device, whatever. Look up the impact of stress and what it does to your body. And you tell me why why people say that stress is a silent killer. It's silent because you don't see it. You think that, oh, something physical has to be something physical has to be there to kill me. No, psychologically, when you're stressed out, you can kill yourself. But when a child is stressed because the parents are stressed, the child will emit symptoms in different ways. It could be cold, it could be rashes, it could be anything. But what they've done, they've brainwashed us to look at symptoms that the body is using to show us that there's certainly by your so-called medical experts. And then therefore they create medicines to take to combat those symptoms, but not really dealing with the cause. We're just going to put a band-aid over the symptom, but the illness still remains. Okay. So recently, the Department of State measles case first identified a parent of a child under 4 years old who recently traveled internationally. While the department released limited information about the patient, yeah, limited. Why not give the full information? Let's make up our own minds if this kid actually has measles. Oh, I guess they're trying to protect the child. That's what they say, to protect the child. Like, okay, I guess HIPAA. Let's protect the child, but it's okay to protect people and not give names of who has certain diseases, but it's okay to lie to the masses about a particular disease to get them to go into a particular direction, to move in a particular path, to be given drugs that they don't need, drugs that are more harmful than the disease that they're claiming that is harmful. We live in a clown world, guys, and you guys won't see it because a lot of you guys don't. I'm not trying to be rude, but a lot of you guys don't think. All I want to do is just force you to think a little bit. That's all. I'm not saying that I have all the answers either, but I know when I'm being lied to, and I know when an agenda is being pushed. I didn't always used to be like this, but it started when I started asking myself questions. All right. So while the department has released the limited information about the patient, it confirmed the child lives in the Northwest region. Health officials are coordinating efforts to identify anyone who might have been exposed, according to the new release from VDH, from the Virginia Department of Health. So it goes back, it's the same lingo with COVID. They can't come out with another new disease because that's going to take too much effort, right? A lot of people have to be involved. This global effort to push COVID was a global event. That really opened my eyes to let me know that we are already functioning under the new world order. The new world order is already here. We keep thinking that we are separate entities or separate demographic. We have separate demographic regions with these invisible lines. These lines don't exist. Then they may exist on a map. Theoretically, they may exist on a map, but in terms of how everything's actually operating, the practicality of it, we are already global. Don't let the different languages and different cultures fool you. When COVID hit, the whole world was functioning together as a whole with this agenda. That let me know that we are being governed by the New World Order today. So in order to come out with another new pandemic or a pandemic, it's going to be hard to do that again with, within less than a decade. You remember the COVID thing was around 2019, 2020, around that time. We are in 2025 right now. So let's just throw a little something out there. Let's throw measles out there. But what we have to do is link measles together to make people understand that it's just as scary as COVID. Number one, we're going to tell them that it's more contagious than COVID. And then we also have to let them know that it can kill you as well. But the question you have to ask yourself, why are they doing this? Is it to protect the American citizen? Or is there something more nefarious at play? I'm more likely and inclined to believe the latter. I don't think they cared about people. I don't think that they care about people's health because it's counterintuitive. Everything around us is unhealthy. Air pollution, the chemtrails that we're being sprayed with, the junk foods, the alcohol stores on every corner. The American diet in and of itself is a death machine and induces cancer. So all of a sudden, you guys have a magic wand to help me stay healthy by injecting my child or injecting me with, called a vaccine that's supposed to make me just healthy or getting disease. Diseases come from the foods we eat. It comes from our environment. When your body is not balanced, there's a dis-ease within the function of your body. Your body is not in equilibrium. It's not in a state where it's balanced. So the body will naturally emit symptoms. It's not medicines, folks. We have it backwards. We have it totally backwards. Measles outbreaks have been declared in 8 states. The most recent announced Thursday in Michigan. All right, now they're telling you it's 8 states. And as it goes on, it's going to be 12 states, 50. Then when it gets to be almost 50 states, then you're going to see how Americans operate. It's like clockwork. We're just like, we're cattle, we're sheep. And I say that with all due respect. We're just sheep. We just don't think. I don't know if it's the foods we eat. I don't know if they are our DNA. I don't know. But I know that the majority, the average American, they don't think. Number one, they don't have the time to think because everyone's busy working. So everybody has literally stopped thinking because they've taught us that there are certain parts of the world that are responsible for thinking for us. We've allowed our sovereign, autonomous will to be innovative and to be individuals and to think for ourselves. We've actually abandoned that. You can't be free when you can't think for yourself or when you're not allowed to think for yourself. We're not allowed to think for ourselves. This thinks for us. The media, what we read, thinks for us. You don't have to be a scientist or an expert to just look into things and use your common sense. Look at the past. Look at what America has done to Americans in the past and just follow the trend. Yeah, it does require a little bit of thinking, a little bit of research. It does. Anything now requires a certain amount of energy that needs to be put forth to find out the truth. It's not just going to fall from the sky. The Holy Spirit is not going to give it to you. You got to get up off your ass and go find it. Because the religious folks, they like to say, just pray and God will reveal it to you. Really? How about you get up off your ass and go find it? Measles outbreaks now declared in 8 states, including Michigan's first in 5 years. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services at Oakland County Health Division confirmed the first case of measles in Oakland County March 14th, and the state is up to 8 cases detected this year. So it starts subtly because they can't say 1,000 or so. They can't do that. But they have to see how, you know, to slowly kill or to slowly indoctrinate or to slowly brainwash is the most effective way to do it. Because by the time you have the death principle already inserted into your psyche or into your body, it's too late because you've been induced subtly to die. See, when somebody hits you with something on impact, you're shocked initially, but you can recover. But when it happens slowly, it becomes something that's ingrained within your system. I'm using the parallelisms here to understand, to tell you why they start with these small numbers. These small numbers are done intentionally because as you're watching it, if you're a person that keeps up with this and you believe in this measles stuff, you can always tell yourself at the beginning, oh yeah, in the beginning it was only 2 cases. Then I remember it was 8 cases. Oh, it's growing. Oh, this is something real. It's growing. It adds a feel to it, giving it some sort of realistic, giving it some sort of a realistic theme because we understand naturally things do grow in increments, right? And we understand that about life, just like if you're pouring a cup of water into a jug of water into a cup, it starts small. The more you pour, it rises. So we understand that from they get bigger. They're giving you the small numbers because they eventually want to lead you to the bigger cases. Where the numbers get to be in the hundreds and almost in the thousands, then you're going to see how the American public starts to panic and act irrationally. We don't learn. We don't learn from our mistakes. I understand how COVID fooled a lot of people. And a lot of people that I've talked to who did believe in COVID initially, they realized that it was a pandemic. I'm not saying that people didn't die. I'm not saying that people weren't sick, but they were telling us. What was bad was what the hospitals were doing. People ran. See, what you deem to be your savior is the Trojan horse that actually kills you. They give you the illness or the perception of illness, then they're there to provide the elixir or the remedy to your illness. I'm going to make the world sick, but I'm going to be the money maker to supply the cure for their illness. That's diabolical. You're causing it, the demon, to be the savior of the problem. All right. That doesn't that doesn't make sense. All right. Okay, so the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services in Oakland County Health Division confirmed the first case of measles in Oakland County March 14th in state, and the state is up to 8 cases detected this year. The first case of measles in Virginia this year is a reminder of how easily this highly contagious can spread, particularly with international travel. Remember, I told you I haven't read this article before I read it. I'm reading this live. Everything is new to me right now. Remember in the beginning when it talked about the kid traveling internationally? I said it's the title is put there to make you see that going outside the country is going to be something that's risky, right? You don't want to do that because if you travel outside the country, there's a high likelihood that you're going to come back with this highly contagious disease called measles. All right. So it doesn't want you to travel. Same thing with COVID, right? They didn't want anybody to go anywhere. They wanted you to stay put. As a matter of fact, they wanted you to stay in your homes. They wanted you to practice social distancing. I mean, we were crazy 6 feet or 6 feet away from somebody that's going to help you not get sick. What the what the f was wrong with us? I don't know. That's what happens when you don't think, folks. That's not the way. There's no such thing as a contagious disease. Anyway, the first case of measles in Virginia. Okay, I already read that. Okay, so it says Forlano said the MMR vaccination. Oh, here we get now. The cause of why the article is written is not to warn the American public about something that's dangerous. It's to warn you about something that's supposed to be perceived as dangerous, but not actually is dangerous, to get you to get something called the MMR vaccine, which actually is dangerous. Forlano said the MMR vaccination remains the best defense against measles, and it's you heard that somewhere before. Safe and highly effective. Yeah, the measles. Yeah, get your vaccine. Safe and effective at protecting people and preventing outbreaks. 2 doses of the vaccine are given to provide lifetime protection. We urge Virginians, especially those planning to travel, to check their vaccination status, talk to their healthcare provider, and get the MMR vaccine. Measles outbreak continues. See which states have reported cases. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm not going to click on that. Then it says anyone who has at the Kaiser Permanente Caton Hill Medical Center advanced urgent care from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Okay. Tuesday at the Kaiser Permanente Frederickson Medical Center Pediatrics Department from noon to 5 p.m. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. It says here those who receive measles containing vaccine, either the measles, mumps, and rubella, MMR vaccine, measles only vaccine available in other countries may be at risk of developing measles. Those who receive measles containing vaccine, those who receive measles containing vaccine, either the measles, mumps, and the rubella MMR vaccine, or a measles only vaccine available in other countries, may be at risk of developing. Oh, so what it's telling you is that okay. So what it's telling you that it's a money thing. I get it. It was kind of confusing. So not all vaccines operate the same. This is saying that if you got the vaccine in another country, you're still susceptible to getting the measles. That doesn't make sense. Look at it. I'm gonna highlight this. All right, to help you guys think critical here. It says those who receive the measles containing vaccines, right? Either the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine or a measles only vaccine available because remember when they give you a vaccine, like if you take the flu vaccine, they're giving so they put a little that's what they say. They put a little bit of whatever they're trying to help protect you with. So I guess it's a way to boost immunity, but which is but I'm not going to get into that. The whole medical industry is founded on a false premise. So what they're telling you is that if you've taken a measles vaccine, all right, in another country, see here in other countries, you may be at risk of developing measles. But before that, MMR vaccine. But what it wants you to do is take the MMR vaccine in the States. But conventional wisdom or conventional thinking, wouldn't you think that all vaccines were the same? They're MMR, right? So I guess there are different types of MMR. Help me understand that. If you're watching this, whether you're watching it live or not, leave a comment. I mean, am I reading this wrong? Those who received measles containing vaccine, who received containing vaccine, either the measles, mumps, and rubella, MMR vaccine, or a measles only vaccine available in other countries, may be at risk of developing measles. So they want you to get it in the States. I get it. That's how I'm reading that. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Reading along is, however, those who received 2 doses of measles containing vaccines or were born before 1957 are protected from the action. However, those who received doses of a measles containing vaccine or were born before 1957 are protected and do not need to take any action. But I don't get it. I would, the older you are, according to their science, the older you are, isn't your immune system supposed to become weaker when you're older? So wouldn't older people be more susceptible to measles? But I guess if you were born before 1957, so if you're an old person, you don't need it. But if you're a young person, that that's so counterintuitive right there. That's not sitting well with me right now. That doesn't make sense. However, those who received 2 doses of measles containing vaccine or were born before 1957 are protected. What makes them protected? No, I mean, or is it because they were given something back then to protect this? This right here is what I call made up BS. They're just talking to give their story validity. That doesn't make any sense. Babies, young people, babies, and the elderly are the two most susceptible people because babies being new to the world, of course, they have to build their immunity or their lymphatic system has to be built up. They haven't lived long enough yet. Then you have elderly people, cycle going back to almost how they were, losing hair, losing teeth. So those two ends of the spectrum are the most vulnerable. But why is that people who were born before 1957 are safe? They're okay. And I don't know. In Virginia, about 95% of kindergartners are fully vaccinated. Yeah, you're seeing the theme occur: vaccine, vaccine. This is called systematic brainwashing. If you don't think like I think, or even, you don't have to think like me, but if you don't ask yourself questions, if you're not a skeptical person by nature, you're gonna just, yeah, I'm gonna get my kids, I'll go get vaccinated. Yeah, there are burger commercials on TV every day, pizza commercials, junk food commercials every day. That's not food either. Let me take my kids to Burger King and McDonald's. Just because you're given something doesn't mean you go get it. That's the point that I'm making. Everything is advertisement, folks. This is an ad that's given the veneer of news information used to help the public, but it's not. It's an ad. It's manipulative, but it's advertisement. This is a commercial. This is like an infomercial to get you to get a vaccine. That's what news is. When you hear Trump talk about fake news, that's essentially what it is. Everything that you read is a commercial to influence you. It's an advertisement to appeal to your emotional mind, your emotional person. Because if I can get you induced with a certain amount of fear, especially if you have young children, who wants their young child to get? We just read a child under 4 years old dying allegedly from measles. We don't want that, right? So what are we going to do? We're going to run to the hospital to make sure we get the injection so we can be protected. Clown world. Clown world. However, infants who are too young to be vaccinated and others who are not vaccinated are susceptible to measles. So basically, they want everybody to go of this article, folks. Infants 6 months through 11 travel or to an area where an outbreak is reported should receive 1 dose of MMR vaccine prior to travel. Yeah, these are the same people that. Anyway, again, the theme is to get the vaccine. Symptoms usually appear 2 stages, with first stage symptoms 7 to 14 days, and exposure being a fever and 101 degree. That's that's the flu, guys. A fever. When little children get vaccines, don't they get a fever? Does that mean that they have measles? Runny nose, watery red eyes. That happens because of air pollution as well. They're not telling you about air pollution. They're not telling you about the things that they spray in the sky either, which is a known fact. It's not anymore. Jet engine exhaust are spraying things in the sky. Our foods are contaminated. Our soil, our microbiome is depleted. Our ozone layer is depleted. Like there are many factors. Your ecosystem can contribute to your illness, folks. It's not viruses. Have you ever thought that we may be the virus that they're trying to eliminate? Ask yourself this: why will an industry whose main objective is to make money, why would they be in an industry to make you that would kill their main line? If I'm a mechanic, right, and I sell parts, why would I then create a vehicle that was indestructible? If I create a vehicle that's indestructible, that makes the demand for my services of supplying parts to people who need parts to fix their broken cars, it removes my business. It actually depletes it. No one needs me anymore because I've built. Well, if the human body is being protected from everything, that would kill the medical industry. They're here to make. Can't y'all see the connection? They're not trying to give us medicines to cure us. I don't know why Americans can't grasp that. I'm not a genius, folks. I'm not that smart. It's just common freaking sense. It's an industry. It's a business model. We're trying to make money. The second stage starts 3 to 5 days. Okay, I'm not reading this anymore. I'm done with this. So pretty much the gist of that article was to get you to get the vaccine. In a nutshell, that's what that was about. And I knew it. That's why I said, let me read this and see what it's talking about. That's what it's for. That's what it's for. So thank you guys for watching. And remember, your health is your wealth. I want you guys to look at all information the same way. Just ask yourself questions. Who benefits from this? Or is the government, is there anything that's an agency or a department, whether it's a Department of Education, whether it's a Department of Health, whether it's the Food and Drug Administration, whether it's a WHO, World Health Organization, whether they're talking about your local health authorities, anything that's considered a department, you have to ask yourself this: can I trust it? And if you say you can trust it, who benefits from it? If we're all healthy and protected from all viruses, how would the medical industry thrive? They need you hooked on something. We know the drug game. Go back to the movies you watch. They have to make the drug. Okay, so when illegal drugs are being dispensed in a certain community, right? The illegal drug has to have an addictive impact to make people come back for more. Well, it's not that vaccines are addictive, but fear is addictive. Fear is contagious. Fear is what's contagious. Because as you're looking around, you see everybody walking around in masks, people holding on to their kids because they don't want their kids to get this disease, this contagious virus that's in the air called the measles. That's the infection. We infect ourselves with fear because we see our peers doing the same thing. Then we end up mimicking behavior. If you're not strong-minded, you'll mimic. I don't mimic. I do what the hell I want to do. So you mimic. And then when you mimic, everyone does the same thing because you have to be protected. And then certain places will block you from going anywhere if they look at your vaccine record and say that you don't have certain vaccines. So it's not that the vaccines are addictive or that the medical industry dispenses drugs that are addictive to make you come back to it. That's not the case. But what they do is put enough fear inside of you to keep you coming back for more and more. And once you put certain medicines inside your body, it impacts your biochemistry to the point where you start needing other medications to combat what the other medication was causing inside of you. So it's sort of like a lose-lose proposition. You take something to mask something, but what you take to mask the first thing has symptoms and side effects because it inhibits the normal functions of the other parts of the body. Inhibits means that it doesn't allow the body, it stops one thing so it can fix something else. But the human body was never made for you to stop anything. You don't stop breathing to heal something. You don't cover your breathing apparatus to heal you from something or protect you from something. Breathing actually is a regenerative component of your internal faculties. In other words, breathing is actually good. Oxygen is good. Breathing out is good. It's a filtration systems that you have in your nose. All right. The olfactory senses are good. You don't never block it and think that you're saving yourself. It's counterintuitive. The body is a regenerative machine. Let the body do what it does. But a lot of the medicines that we take, it inhibits certain parts of your system to allow something else to work more, giving you the illusion that, hey, our symptom is gone. Now, your symptom is still there. You just don't feel it. And the cause has never been dealt with. That's not medicine, folks. But that's what we believe medicine to be. All right. So thank you guys for watching and thank you guys for listening. I'm going to end this stream right now. Remember, your health is your wealth. Peace.